What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about if Gotham Knights could come to Game Pass. So this was a super interesting, this is not a leak, this is not a rumor, this is kind of like a theory that people have been building online. I think there is a lot to, in terms of like going its way. I think it makes a ton of sense for Gotham Knights to be on Game Pass, and we'll talk about it in this video. So the first thing to think of is what isn't coming to Xbox Game Pass in the fall, and that's two games, Redfall and Starfield. So we've talked about this in non-Gotham Knights videos, right? If you're Xbox in this year, or you are Xbox in this year, they haven't done anything. Let's be very frank and let's be very real when it comes to these big, heavy first-party studio games, right? There's absolutely nothing. Now they do have smaller things, Somerville, etc., right? They are going to have things, Scorn, throughout the year, but in terms of something that matches a Redfall or specifically Starfield, they got nothing. So you delay those games out of this year, and I think everybody, with common sense kind of thinks, all right, well, Microsoft needs something, right? You need something to drive people to the service in the fall. And you're going to have smaller games, but you are not going to have the behemoth that's going to get 10, 15, 20 million people playing it for sure in Starfield, right? Starfield's going to be probably the biggest game on Game Pass to ever exist until the next big game comes out after it, right? So what do you do to fill that void? Some people have come up with two possible answers: Saints Row and Gotham Knights. And I think those are perfect. Those are examples of games that are actually kind of gigantic. They're not the size of Starfield. Nobody would ever, assume to put these games next to a thing like Starfield or a huge, even like a first-party thing for Sony or Xbox, right? But they are big games that are coming out. And ironically, Gotham Knights comes out right October 25th. So, Starfield was supposed to be, November 11th. So this game comes out 2 weeks before it. I think it kind of lines up perfect, right? So if you want to drive people to your service, your Game Pass, you could say, hey, we don't have a Starfield, but we do have a game that comes out right before it. Plus, you think, all right, well, Gotham Knights, what's one of the biggest draws with Gotham Knights to kind of like just a normal crowd? The multiplayer. And multiplayer meaning you can play it with more than just yourself, right? So it's you and one other. So again, if you're Microsoft, you look at it and say, hey, well, you know what? We could offer this, and not only will one person get it, but then they may say, well, you know what? I want to play this with my friend on Xbox. And actually, one thing that we know about Gotham Knights, which I actually think is very stupid, is there is no crossplay, which I think is a very bad decision. But there is no crossplay, so if you get it on Xbox, Series S or X, that's it. Those are the only people you can play with. Now, for Game Pass and the argument I'm making, it actually helps it, right? Because of what I just said. So you get it on Xbox and you say, man, I can play this with a friend of mine who has Xbox, but maybe my friend doesn't have Game Pass. Well, if they get Game Pass, they don't have to buy why would you buy the game for $60 or $70? I think it is actually 70. Why would you do that if you could just do Game Pass for a month? Now, again, I'm not saying everybody thinks this way. I'm not saying that this is the best or worst or any kind of way to think. I'm simply saying if you're arguing for Game Pass, this is how you do it. You know what I mean? You can get more than one person attached per game. Means you get one person to get it. You could probably get a second person. It is a big game. It's DC. There's a lot of eyes on it. Even though it doesn't look like the most spectacular thing in the world, it's still going to be a big game. It is. And you need something to fill in the void of Starfield. Redfall, too. You could argue Redfall. And again, maybe that's Saints Row. Also, and again, there's no scientific way of looking at it. When you think of when Xbox does make these kind of big splashes, when they say, hey, we got this big game, we got this AAA game from the studio, whether we're going to do it day one on Game Pass or whether we're going to do it later, Guardians of the Galaxy was later, Life is Strange True Colors was later. I mean, those are legit games that they got. So when you think of those, and again, you think of the fall, what are games that are candidates for that? Well, those two games are. Again, there's no scientific way of proving that. It's kind of just my opinion and explaining it how I did. But when you look at Gotham Knights, doesn't it kind of seem like it could be a Game Pass game? Where if you're Microsoft, you say, yeah, it checks pretty much all the boxes. We need something, and it kind of works. And we've gone after big fish like this before to kind of just bolster the service, to say, hey, not only do we give our exclusive games out for free through Game Pass, but we also sometimes make deals with these companies and we give them, and Gotham Knights fits that perfectly, in my opinion. And I guess the final thing, unlike Hogwarts Legacy, and I've seen people argue this, I don't actually understand it. Unlike Hogwarts Legacy, Gotham Knights is not linked to Sony. Now, some people are kind of on the opposite side of that. I don't get that line of thinking. Like, Warner Bros. Maybe is more friendly with Sony, but that's arguable. Like, I don't know if that's 100% true, mainly because, like, yeah, you have Hogwarts, but nothing, that's kind of it. And Hogwarts, by the way, not to confuse people, Hogwarts just seems to have some sort of exclusive marketing, which people have kind of gone in and said, hey, when you have a game like Hogwarts that it definitely has a contract with Sony, right? Normally it prohibits them from being on a Game Pass. So there's no way Hogwarts will be on Game Pass, at least for quite some time. So again, so you look at that and you say, okay, well, you have Hogwarts as an example. You have Gotham Knights as an example. Hogwarts is honestly off the table. You're not going to get that on Game Pass day one. And that would be huge. By the way, that'd be freaking gigantic. It would be bigger, in my opinion, than Gotham Knights. And that's just my opinion. But I think it makes sense. I think it makes a lot of sense. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure you guys are subscribed, bell icon turned on so you know when all these videos go up. If you want to follow me anywhere else, all my social media is in the description below. Thank you guys for watching. I hope to see you all on the next video.